Hello and welcome to another edition of Big Brother Canada Season 10's coverage right here on Reality in SFW. I'm your host, Bobby Goodsby, along with my co-host, Mr. Brent Wolgamott. Brent, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. What a week in the Big Brother house. I'm so excited to talk about it because I have been watching the feeds. I've had a little time to myself, and I know what went down, so we can talk about it.
I'm very excited to go over this. So I got to be honest with you guys. This week has been a crazy week for me at work and with the baby. We actually just got back from the emergency room with the baby today. She's fine. Everything's fine. But we had a little scare. So I have been behind on
Oh
a
my.
lot that's been going on with everything in this house. A lot of personal stuff going on, but everything's good. And I got to catch episodes. So I didn't see Monday's episode. I haven't been able to follow what's been going on in the house. But I'm here with you. I feel like such a casual today. Like today, I just feel like one of those casuals tuning into the episode going like, wait, Kyle's going home? What's going on? So Brent, you're going to be the master of ceremonies tonight and telling me what's going on in this house. And then I'll be following along with you guys. And I'm just excited to hear everything because my mind is blown after watching this episode.
Right. So like I said in the intro, I have been watching the feeds because, we were all depressed when Gina won HOH. And by the way, we haven't even, let's just go back in time a day, because before Gina won HOH, the blind side happened, and the blind side actually happened. Like, amazing. It's still amazing to me. It was like 8-2, 9-2, 9-2, something like that. And I know only two people voted the right way, as the HOH wanted them to, Jace and Gino. And still, those 9 people managed to keep a secret. Like, I can't believe no one blabbed. I can't believe it. God bless Jess, because Summer, I think at one point, wanted to tell Kyle what was going to, or she was going to tell Steph. She was going to break the news to Steph and let her know like an hour beforehand. But Jess was not having it. Jess was like, no, because if you tell Steph, she's going to go off the gourd and she's going to have shit to say, and maybe it gets turned around. Maybe people start talking and something weird happens. No, it has to be a blindside. Thank you, Jess. We need more Jesses in the goddamn house, because I have to believe in the back of their mind, Jess was also like, and yeah, it would be really, really good TV too. And Arissa was living for it, living with a capital L, because she's like, it's really the truth. It's been a minute since we've had a blindside that big and go off that well without a hitch.
True.
Usually something's in the air. Somebody knows something, but god damn, they all kept a secret. Arissa was so psyched about it, and she did it the right way. She was like, by a vote, 9-2, Josh. And because Kyle thought it was gonna be 9-2 the other way. So
100%.
It was amazing television. And then of course, so Bobby, what did you get a chance to watch that episode? The Kyle getting blinded? Yeah.
So I watched the episode, the eviction episode. I didn't get to see Monday's episode, and I've been kind of, in and out of work and everything with everything going on in my personal life. So I didn't get to catch up on like Twitter or watch the feeds. I honestly feel like a true casual this week. Like, it feels like watching Survivor, where you just see week by week. That's kind of how I went through this day. But I did get to see the eviction episode, and my God, was it everything we've been hoping for a long time, to be honest with you. I mean, how many seasons, US or Big Brother Canada, that we've got to see a true blindside like this actually happen? And it was just, it felt like the whole world was crashing on them. And then we see Gino, of all people, win the HOH. It was everything I could have asked for the season.
Yeah, it was. And I think it's important to talk about that, that Gino, of all people, won HOH, because the thing is, we know from the outside the predicament that Gino is in. And what he said in this episode was true, that if Kyle goes on the block, Gino's going up right next to him. And he knew that. And I think the most damning piece of evidence that came on down the line, I know I'm skipping ahead from the veto and all that, blah, 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 but still, this is the big news that we want to talk about, is Kyle being nominated. The biggest piece of evidence, the most raw thing that hit Gino right in the gut, was when Kyle came in. And Kyle was like, well, I know if I'm going up, you're going up right next to me. I mean, which of course Summer had just said that. But still, for him to hear it from Kyle, he's like, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Now, for those of you asking, first of all, I'm going to give not all credit. I want to give some credit to Summer for this. A lot of credit to Summer for getting the ball rolling on this, for making this happen. I would also like to give credit to Helena, because Helena also made this happen. So the thing you need to understand about the Big Brother house is that, like, my camera, can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can see you and hear you.
My camera, like, my camera went off for a second. I was like, maybe I'm not still here. I don't want to keep talking if I'm not still here. Okay,
You're thing
that you need to understand is that information is currency in the Big Brother house, and a lot of people in this very fluid house don't have the right currency. They have misinformation, and there are people in the house, Helena is one of them, who believes that Tanisha, Moose, and Herman are a threesome. She thinks that they are a threesome and that they have the numbers. And there was a point in time where she was talking about, and Gino was talking about the possibility of putting Tanisha up on the block or putting Herman up on the block, okay? But then when Helena is telling him this, he's like, oh my God, I wish you would have come to me with this before, because I might have done something different with my initial nominations. Now he's stuck with Jess on the block, so he can only put one person on the block for a replacement nominee. And he doesn't think that he has the numbers to take out Herman or to take out Moose or to take out Tanisha. He doesn't think he has the numbers, and he doesn't want to be up on the block next to Kyle next week. So what's his play? And that's where Helena also says, well, if you wanted to make kind of a big move that would make everybody happy, you could nominate Kyle this week, make everybody happy with you, and then next week we go after the trio of Tanisha, Herman, and Moose. That's what we'll do. Now, again, Tanisha, Herman, and Moose are not working together. Up until like 5 minutes ago, Moose was after Herman, okay? So just keep that in mind, that this is not a real threesome. But people in the house think it's a real threesome, and thus perception is reality in the Big Brother house, and thus they think they have to go after them. So they think they can't do it right now. Gino thinks, I can't do it right now. I can't put up Tanisha because I don't have the numbers. I can't put up Herman because I don't have the numbers. You know what I do have the numbers for? I have the numbers for Kyle. Now, he could have, as he said, put up Betty, and that it would have probably resulted in Jess going home, to be honest. But he just didn't want to do that. And I think, like I said, the biggest piece of evidence was when Kyle came in and said what he said about, I'll go up on the block and you'll be right next to me. And if you saw what I tweeted, I said, because I saw the RHAP roundtable on Tuesday night, and everybody gave it a 4, and Taryn absolutely hates this move. He gave it a 2. I really love this move. I love it so much that I would have given Gino a 6. And I think that would have blew everybody's fucking mind. But, and I hear because I heard Taryn's criticism of this. I hear where people are coming from. Just people, not just Taryn, but people in general are like, you never nominate an ally. This is like Howie all over again, BB6. This is Fessy all over again with Scotty in BB20. Like, we've seen this story before. It never results in anybody. Ryan on Big Brother Canada 6. Nominating Andrew, nominating your ally never works. But, none of those houses were this fluid. This house is so fucking fluid right now. Literally anybody could be nominated next week. It is so fluid. There are some relative targets. Herman is definitely in some danger. I feel like Gino could be nominated next to his girlfriend. There are some other people that could win and do their own thing, but it's so fluid. It's not even like Big Brother Canada 6, where there were factions. There were factions of people with like Kayla and her boyfriend, whose name I forget, Derek, and then Paris and Will and Maddie. They were a faction, and then there are other people with factions. But that's not how this house is. It's so fluid. Everyone's working with everybody. We haven't even talked about Josh, who survived the block last week and all of a sudden is playing the game. I really, really blown. So what I'm saying is, I love this move by Gino because it shows everybody, you know what? I'm willing to make the house happy. Fewer people are going to nominate Gino next week if Kyle's not there. If Kyle's not there, very few people are going to outright nominate Gino for eviction. Now, there are some people who are not very happy with his girlfriend, who we didn't even see in this episode, which is amazing. He's the HOH. He's making a decision, and he talked to her. He talked to Jace beforehand, and she totally agreed that putting Kyle on the block was the best thing for their games after he explained it. I expected her to push back. She did not. So just to wrap up everything here, Summer deserves the credit. Helena deserves some of the credit, but not for the reasons that you think. Helena deserves some of the credit because she was the one to realize that maybe he couldn't put up Tanisha, that he couldn't put up Herman, because she's giving him misinformation, but she doesn't even realize it. She doesn't realize she's giving him misinformation. So he thinks, I can't do that because I don't want to get Kyled. I don't want to have the house vote against what I want to have happen. So I'm going to do what the house wants, and I'm going to try to make good with everybody in the house. And you know what? Everybody in the house feels good about this. This has been and the other thing too is Kyle kind of fell on his sword about it, which made it all the more easy for him to do. Kyle was like, oh, I guess I get it. And he told Gino it was a good move, which I don't even think they showed that in the episode tonight. He told him it was a good move. So I know I'm just the reason I'm talking so long because I know you have been watching the feeds, and I know that you didn't see the episode, but I think this move by Gino is the best he can make out of a bad hand, because he cannot go forward in this game with Kyle, because if he goes to if things stay the same and like Betty got evicted this week or Jess got evicted this week, then odds are somebody's going to win HOH next week and they're going to nominate Kyle and Gino. And then if Kyle wins veto, Gino's out. And he knows that, and which he said in this episode tonight. Again, I think fewer people will nominate Gino now because Kyle has been removed from the equation. And this house is so fluid. Even misinformation is real information in the house, because they think that Tanisha, Herman, and Moose are a trio. So a lot of people are going to go after them. And that allows Gino to slink back in. And also, even if Gino ends up on the block next to his showmans, you heard it from here first. As big as that boy is, and as hot as he is, and as strong as he is, I think they evict his girlfriend over him, because she has no social game and he has one at least. So I love this move. I don't think it's like the most premium thing he could ever do, but given what had happened, I think he's making the best. He's making like the best out of a shit sandwich. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you went into detail with all this, because honestly, you answered my biggest question. Is the show really made it seem like he was making the right move for his long game experience, in this house, and that by doing this, he's making the rest of the house happy, and that he will continue to survive, going forward. And I was worried, because we know how the show can be. We know how the edit can be, that they'll show us what they want to show us, but might not necessarily be the truth. So I was worried, as someone who actually enjoys Gino in the house and has him in his draft, was worried about, is Gino actually being looked at by the house as, well, we can't trust this guy. Like Mary in the chat said, we can't trust this guy because he's going after one of his bros. So how can we trust him? Or are they looking at like, okay, well, he's knocking off and doing our work for us, and now we can just put him on the block and get both of them out in 2 weeks. Great. Our hands are clean for this first one, and then we get him out second. That was my biggest worry. Now, from what I'm hearing from you is this guy is making the move that's making the house happy. The house is fluid like we've seen so far this season. And really, this is possibly the best thing he could have done to really kind of step back. And now he's not in hot water. The guy they want is out, and his hands are clean because he got out the house's target. And now he's just kind of can fold back into the minutia of the house. So that's what I feel like you're saying. So I really do like that from his game. I understand where people are coming from when they say, hey, you shouldn't target, your allies. You're doing the dirty work of your enemy, like blah, blah, blah. Totally understand that. But like you said, given this circumstance where it's basically, if he doesn't do this, it's inevitable that the entire house is going to do this next week. They're going to put him and him up on the block, and one of them is going to go home. And if Kyle wins the POV, then it's Gino. And for Gino's game, he can't have that. He can't even risk that. So why not get out the guy that everyone wants out, even if he is your ally, and then kind of start anew? Oops, I totally hit my mic. But yeah, no, like that makes way more sense to me. I actually, now that hearing that from you, I love that aspect of his game. I love that he's thinking forward enough in this game to realize the big picture that, yes, one ally isn't worth, keeping one ally further in the game, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, isn't worth the longevity of your own game. And that is something I can greatly appreciate. Makes me feel better as him as a player. And honestly, I kind of like what we saw with his relationship with Marty. Like, yeah, it didn't start off well in the house. Now, granted, maybe this isn't how it's actually playing out, but that conversation they had in the storage room really gave me some life for their relationship, and I like the way it's going.
Yeah, like, so I think the thing that the show hid from us was that Gino actually wanted Marty to win the veto. Like, he wanted to just send a message. Like, he just cared about the optics of it, as in not like optics as in nominating a white person, although he did not nominate any people of color, so that should be noted and commended for him to do that. Just noting that for the record. But he also cares about the fact that he nominated somebody who fucked him over. It's like The Godfather. He wants to nominate somebody who fucked me over. And tell the house, if you fuck me over, if you fuck with me, then I'm gonna fuck with you. So that's basically what that did. But he wanted Marty to win the veto, and he did. And they each knew ahead of time, or at least the second time around, Gino knew that Marty was going to make that speech. So he was just kind of play acting it up a little bit. So I think they're right with each other right now. I will say thank you, Tracy, for reminding me. I was trying to think of other people who were targets. Marty is also a big target in the house right now. Marty was previously working with Josh. A lot of people don't know that, but Marty had told Josh. This was not addressed in the episode whatsoever. Maybe it'll be addressed tomorrow. Marty had told Josh, he had fessed up to Josh last week, which also reminds me about something in the episode which I'm going to bitch about. So Marty had told Josh that he was the one who got him nominated last week. He was the one who told Kyle, you really need to nominate Josh. Marty wanted Josh nominated. Okay. Did you see previously in this episode where Marty was complaining about the fact that how Kyle ran his HOH? He's like, Kyle ran his HOH so bad. You know, I don't understand the way he ran it. I'm like, what do you mean the way he ran it? He did exactly what you wanted him to do. You wanted him to put Josh on the block. You were the one who talked to him about putting Josh up on the block. You got exactly what you wanted, and then you didn't vote that way. Which, again, thanks to Kevin for that. That was Kevin's doing that Marty didn't vote that way. But still, it was annoying me that he was acting like he was totally clean. But anyways, point being that Josh was aware that Marty was the one who suggested him as the nominee and had sort of forgiven Marty, and they were sort of working together. But then later this week, and again, maybe this is going to be addressed in the episode tomorrow, Marty let it be known. Again, Marty cannot keep a fucking secret. Marty let it be known that Josh knew already that he was the one who put him on the block, essentially, by suggesting him to Kyle, which revealed Josh to be a liar in the eyes of some people, some other people. And so they're not pissed at Josh, but they're aware he's playing the game. And that is, it puts Josh a teeny little bit more on people's radar. I don't think he'll be nominated, but I do think that people are aware he's playing now.
Gotcha. And I will say this, watching the episode, I was very impressed with Summer's gameplay. Summer is very impressive to me. I mean, like I said, could be what they're showing us, but from what I saw, she had her hands, right there in it. And she was, I don't think what she said was going to change Gino's opinion, but it might have been that little birdie in his ear that he needed. I really think that she's actually playing a pretty good game, and I'm pretty excited to see it.
Yeah. I think Summer's fantastic, and I do think that of the people in the house, I think she's probably the least likely to be nominated next week. So Mary, I see Mary in the chat saying, I can see that Jess, also Betty, but she can never win, putting JC and Gino up on the block. Gino wins POV, JC wins POV. Then what? Meaning, like, what I'm talking about. Look, I didn't say it was a perfect scenario. I didn't say it was perfect putting Kyle up on the block, putting an ally up on the block. But again, fewer people will put Gino on the block now than they would have had the status quo remained. But Gino has now removed a big impediment to the game moving forward, because if Kyle was still in the house, everybody would have been after Kyle. But now that Kyle's not there anymore, new targets have emerged. Other people have floated to the top. Harmon has floated to the top. Moose has floated to the top. Marty has floated to the top. These people are in front of Gino, in my opinion, currently on the pecking order of who is most likely to be nominated next week, which is all you can do is improve your lot in the Big Brother house. And Gino did. Now, I did see that Taryn was not really pleased with the fact that Gino nominated Kyle for the sheer fact that he was a vote-in jury for him. Well, you know what? Taryn, girl, juries are unpredictable. We have seen this 1,000 times over. You cannot predict how somebody who gets voted off in week 6 or week 7 is going to vote when somebody else who's not them gets to the final 2. I think that's a terrible reason to keep someone around in the house. Oh, well, they might be a jury vote for it, or they may more likely be a vote for me in jury. I think that's a terrible reason, and honestly, I can't believe he suggested it, if I'm being totally honest.
And what was I going to say? So another thing that I guess I don't understand is for the rest of the house, I feel like it would have been almost a better week if Kyle doesn't go up this week, because you think about it, Gino's targeting these, lesser targets and, than the majority, you would say, in this house. And say he takes a shot and gets one of those out, Kyle's everyone's target going forward. Kyle's this big meat shield, like they would say on Survivor, that you want in this house. You want someone like that everyone's unanimous about, and hopefully staying alive, because guess what? He's always going to be nominated. He's always going to go home in front of you. So I feel like this opens the door for a lot of these people maybe playing the middle or playing both sides, that their games are going to be a little more exposed.
So I think that I do think that the game is going to move forward and other people's games are going to be exposed. The only person who I think should really be annoyed that Kyle is up on the block is Kevin, because Kevin really I think he was doing really well in the chaos that Kyle brought to the game. And he was doing very well in the, it's us against them. We have to get Kyle out. And that was definitely blocking a lot of people from seeing what Kevin is doing. Now that Kyle is, and he's going to be gone, let me just say, he's going to be gone. He's not going to be able to stay. In fact, I think it's going to be the first unanimous vote this season. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So I read something. I read something in the chat and I lost my train of thought. What was I saying again?
We were talking about how the rest of the house is getting rid of the meat shield in front
Kevin.
of him.
Yeah. Kevin. Sorry. I think that Kevin. So I don't know if Kevin is actually pissed. I don't feel like he is, but I feel like he should be, because now that everything's going to reset and Kyle is going to be out of the house, I do feel like Kevin is slightly more exposed than maybe he was before. But then again, I don't feel like he's really exposed. I think that Kevin, on a scale of how many people are left in the house? Maybe 12 people. I feel like Kevin's probably number 8, number 7 in terms of possible nominees. A lot of people like Kevin. He does really good with the social game, far better than I thought he was going to do.
Yeah.
He presented himself initially as a villain, a sort of a caricature of himself. And he's just so goofy sometimes that I think he just endears himself to people, and they really do enjoy his presence. So I don't feel like Kevin's going to in danger, but again, I still think he would have been doing better had Kyle remained in the house.
Unless your name is Betty.
Yeah, right. Well, Betty, look, I don't even know if that's going to be addressed on the episode. Sorry, I put some candy in my mouth, but
you're good.
Betty and Kevin are doing fine now. Betty outright said, I hate you to Kevin earlier, but they're totally fine now. They're working together. They're sharing information.
Oh, wow.
They're hugging it out. I mean, Betty's just a firecracker. She's like me. She's gets pissed easily, and then she comes back down easily, and she's like, okay, we're good, whatever. So
of course, of all weeks
I like their relationship.
Of all weeks for me to miss out on such a drastic change in the house week, it had to be this week. But hey, that's why I have you here. Information overload.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Okay.
So do you want to go? What else do you want to go into?
Oh gosh, what do I want to go? First of all, I don't know how Gino's on the show. He's literally on the show for this. He's on the show for his tits and his abs, okay? Because he's you could tell in the diary room, they were literally pulling words out of him. He did not want to give diary rooms as the HOH, but they were literally please give us something to work with. He's so boring. He's like wallpaper. What?
Mary said, I'm more mad at him because he keeps his shirt on over nominating Kyle. And then she also says, Brent, low-key, I'm mad at Gino because he is never shirtless. We get it, Mary.
Mary, he was shirtless yesterday. Someone sent me the pic. I could send it to you. You should send me. You should send me a DM if you haven't seen it. He was in bed with Herman, literally in bed with Herman. They were wrestling, and he had his shirt off, and his abs were you could everything. Oh yeah, he's not as douchey as he needs to be. We want him to be a little douchier, and in order to be the douchebag, you have to walk around with your shirt off. That's what we want, right? And we're not seeing it right now. Yeah.
All right. So we've gotten kind of the backstory of everything. We've kind of see what's happened from the last episode to this episode. Now we get into the HOH competition. And I felt like you said
The
in the
veto
episode,
competition.
or excuse me, veto competition. And like
Yes.
Marty said in the episode, I thought this was a great draw for Marty. I don't think he could have picked a better draw to happen. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I think so too. I think it was probably unfortunate for Jess because I know that she picked Tanisha, but I don't know if Tanisha would have used the veto on Jess. I think Jess was probably trying to pick somebody, who she can make they could make a little social inroads with, but also somebody who was not necessarily a threat in the competition. So that's why they picked Tanisha. Summer obviously may have used the veto, but she would have wanted to know what Gina was going to do first. And I agree with you. Like the people who were most motivated to win, i.e., the two nominees, were the last two standing. I thought this was a very fun competition. I liked the fact that they put some temptations down the line and said, if you take this, then you're going to have to, like the letter from home. And Tanisha wanted. That's what we love to see. We love to see moments like that. Is she going to take it? Is she not going to take it? Like, I didn't know she was going to take it. Actually, I had not heard this part in the feeds, so I didn't know that she wasn't going to take the letter. She tried to win it, and I give her credit for that. But she'll get her letter. Don't worry.
Here's what I don't understand. For T, why wouldn't she take the letter? Like, I understand that she was someone that Gina was, threatening to possibly put up as a replacement nominee, her or Betty. But even if she goes up on the block against Jess is still going home. So I feel like she has the people there. Am I wrong? Or was there a plan that if T goes up, that she's possibly going home?
I think that you're right. I think T would have stayed, but I think also Tanisha didn't want to lose Jess, and also Tanisha just doesn't want to go up on the block. Like, like it's got to be, like, I'll just tell you, when I played Sequester in the first episode, when I got exiled and all of a sudden I was a nominee, it's way scarier, bitch. I mean, like when you're not a nominee, you're fine, but when you are a nominee, it is earth-shattering. Like, you do not want to go through that stress, and it was very, very stressful. So I understand where Tanisha's coming from. She doesn't even want to be a nominee. She doesn't want to even be in the conversation. So I get it, trying to win the veto. Like, I give her all credit in the world for trying to win this. I think she thought she could win it. That's why she didn't take the letter. And I'm sure she wishes she did now, though. Yeah,
absolutely. Now, and I get why Summer took it, because Summer is completely safe. So that makes all the sense in the world. What about Helena? Did you think that she should have taken the letter? Or did she have anything to fear at all?
She did. That's why Helena went up and was talking about the potential for Gino to nominate her. I mean, you didn't see it in the episode, but Helena, when I talked about the fact that Helena went up and had this misinformation about the threesome of Tanisha, Herman, and Moose, which is really where the solidification of the backdoor Kyle plan came through. Even though we didn't see it in the episode, Helena was definitely concerned about being nominated. So that's another reason why I think that she didn't take the letter, and she really tried to win the veto herself as well.
Now, when we get further into this competition, one of my favorite parts of the competition is when they had the opportunity to pick a smaller box or a bigger box to add to their stack, to either, make it wider and make there be one big block in the middle, maybe allow you to hold up at a different angle, or maybe gives you a little more leverage. What did you think, and what would have been your ultimate game plan? We saw the majority go for the smaller box, and we saw Jess, they picked the bigger box. I personally was siding with Jess. I thought they had the right decision of going with the bigger box, because it gives you that extra space that if it slips a little bit, you still have that remaining part of the box to save you. Did you think about that at all, and what would you have done?
Yeah, and I think I probably would have gone for the bigger box, but that's based on what I know now, which, of course, they didn't have the advantage of watching other people. Sure. Because most people lost it when their boxes, like most of them, their boxes didn't drop. Most of them, their boxes went like this, like up. They went up and then they fell. You know what I mean? They because they're pushing so hard, and eventually they went whoop like that, and they fell apart. So I would have had the bigger box, so that would have less of a chance of happening. And I think a smaller box definitely is going to put you're really exaggerating the pressure of this kind of thing happening, and then it going like that and going kaplooey all over you. So I think I probably would have taken the bigger box, but I understand why people took the smaller box because it's less like the bigger box is more, it's further away from your focal point because it's extending your chest out more. And you probably, the further away you are, the harder it is to keep that up. And they were really feeling it at that point. So I understood why they took the smaller box.
I feel like another strategy too was the main problem I saw was the first box in the stack would always slide down, and then that doesn't hold your momentum very well. Whatever pressure you're putting against these boxes is now deviated from the central spot that you're holding to the pressure point. And my question is, could they have raised the first box higher and started at a higher parallel so that say you put the first box here and the box that's resting against is here. Instead of just being even, could you go a little bit higher? I'm thinking way too much about this. I totally understand that. But then it gives you the opportunity to slide down.
Yeah, no, I think you definitely could have. Yeah, you could have. I don't see any reason why you had to put it square. You could as long as you had it stacked backwards, and you could do it because it moved around anyway. So they could deliberately do it if they wanted to. So I'm sure they could have done that. I think a lot of them probably just didn't even think of that. They thought,
That's my brain just thinking about every single way to try to win a competition. But I just thought that I saw a lot of these boxes going from the center and slipping down, and then them holding their force against it as it's slipping, and that's what breaks the momentum. I think you go a little higher, it gives you that little added advantage to slide down a little, and then you're square like everyone else. I don't know, just my thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, I thought it was a great competition. Like I said, I want competitions like this that allow me as a viewer to look at the competition, think, how would I play this game? How would I work this game to my advantage like I'm doing now? And it's something optical that I understand it. I get it. I could enter in my own strategy, and I can also watch and be entertained. And then, like you said, there's outside influences like a letter from home or, a cookie and milk that really grasp your attention to make you wonder, what are they going to do? How would you do it? That's the kind of competition I love to see. So this is probably my favorite competition of the entire season so far. So I'm happy that they brought this one in. I would hope BBUS would bring in something like this, because I think this is exactly the competition that allows for strategy, allows for some bit of athleticism in a way, but also it's gender neutral that anyone can win.
See, and I'm with you on that to an extent, but I don't feel like it was truly, truly gender neutral because Marty is like the biggest, strongest one there, and he still won. Like like men are taller and they have more of a balance point insofar, and they have more leverage. I feel like on the boxes, I feel like Marty had that. So I don't know if it was truly gender neutral. And also the fact that they had to they were literally using their strength to hold up the boxes and to keep them level, and their hands were shaking. So that they uses up all that muscle. So I don't know if I don't know if it was truly gender neutral. Mary says in the chat that gender neutral comps always favor men. I don't think that that's true if they are gender neutral. If they are truly gender neutral, this one I think would have definitely favored men. And Moses asks what comps benefit women. I think historically we've seen on Survivor, balance competitions, men are not terribly great with balance, and also they have they have more weight typically, so they have more difficulty balancing on something than their female counterparts do. So I think a balance competition, and this, I wouldn't call this a balance competition. This was, there was a little bit of balance, but it was mostly focus and strength, and that was something that Marty seemed to excel at.
Like we said before, we see more gender-neutral competitions in Survivor, and competitions like they have in Survivor where it's either holding a certain weight or endurance to a certain extent, where you're holding yourself up on something or trying to, keep something straight. Usually that's more skewed, and especially these big guys, stuff like that where it's endurance, it's much harder for them and their body weight, I feel like, to be able to control certain situations. I'm trying to think of an exact example right now, but that's the best way I can describe it, because of course an example is not coming to my head. But for instance, we were watching Australian Survivor, and this season I feel like there's been a couple competitions that I'm like, well, there's no way these strong men win this competition, and we've seen they don't win the competition. It's the smaller women, And that's totally understandable given the circumstances. I think Australian Survivor, you see a lot more of that, where the women there's certain competitions that are definitely more skewed towards women. But another example for Big Brother would be like the wall competition. A wall competition, you're up against there, you're holding your weight. If you're a big guy, or even, how do I explain this? It's more skewed towards body size, which generally a woman is smaller in stature than a man. That's generally the case.
Yeah.
So in wall competitions, you see either a smaller guy or a woman generally win these competitions.
But to be fair, we have also seen big, strong men win them before. Like, I know that's happened once or twice. I want to say like Jackson on, is that what his name was? The guy who won Big Brother 21. What was his name?
Yeah,
was it Jackson? Mm-hmm. Okay, sorry. Once the season's over, it goes out of my head. I think he won the wall competition. I want to say he did.
I don't remember if he won the competition.
Yeah, I think he did. But yeah, I understand where you're coming from though, and I think that's definitely true.
I would just say generally. It's not in every time.
Yeah, like generally, yes. That's all you can ask for. Yeah, anybody can win anything at any given time.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, honestly, guys, let's be real. Coming up with these competitions, like, it would be very difficult task to try to figure out a gender neutral thing that's going to make everyone happy. Like, if you and I were in that position, you want to make it so everyone's happy. You're trying to do everything you can, but we got to cut them a little bit of slack. It's not like these competitions are skewed completely for men or completely for women. You got to cut them a little slack because it's not going to be perfect. Never going to be perfect because you can't have the same competition every single week. So I feel like we got to give them a credit for what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So let's go to the next. So next we see Marty Wins the POV. Obviously, he has that talk with Gino in the storage room. We did talk a little bit about it, but is there anything else about that relationship you want to discuss?
No, I think it's good for both of them. I will say, just as an aside to the episode, can I remind the panel and the audience that Marty has won the most competitions this season, okay? Marty has also, in my view, at least guilty of microaggression in terms of who he sees as threats and how he groups people together, okay? And also, Marty won the fan vote during Kyle's HOH. When he didn't even need safety, still got it anyway because people voted for him. So that's all true. But you wouldn't know that from this episode because this episode made Marty look like the freaking underdog. It's like, oh, I'm the underdog of the house. Everyone's against me. I have to save myself. And that's really annoying because, like, I feel like if they have any other fan vote and Marty's still in the house, like, Marty's going to win because they're going out of their way to make Marty look like he's so put upon. He's such a victim when, like, again, he did this to himself. He was the one who wanted Josh nominated. Kyle did exactly what he wanted and nominated Josh. Then he voted against him and he knew what that danger entailed. And then Gino won and he got all mad that Gino backstabbed him when he backstabbed him first. Yeah. So why? He was such a whiner. It's such a whiner in this episode. And I felt like so much of it was for the cameras. I don't know if everybody agrees with me on that. I just felt like so much of Marty was for the cameras. And it's just annoying. I mean, I like Marty to a certain extent. And I think he has some heart in the game, and I like that. We like to see people who want to win. But I felt like it was very fake.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And the thing that I don't like is when people take things so personally. Now, granted, if a situation is personal, then yes, you should take it personally. To be honest, go back to it. Some of the things Betty said to Kevin, I thought were a little bit borderline personal. And I was like, that's not really cool. But in this situation, what Gino said to Marty, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I thought it was within the rules of the game and within what's happening.
Marty, as Adam says in the chat, why was Marty so pissed when Marty was the one who said backstab first to Gino? He's like, he said it in the diary room. I'm going to have to backstab some people. And then Gino called him a backstabber and he's upset about it. He's so fake. He's just so fake. Again, he's going for the victim points with Canada. Please save me, Canada, every week. I'm so put upon. Anyway, whatever.
It just rubbed me the wrong way because it's like, dude, it wasn't personal. He even came to you to talk to you and tell you that. So it was interesting. But all right. So before we get into Gino's plans to put up Kyle and talk a little bit more about that and about the ceremony. Let's take a quick break, and we will be right back.
Lucy Nicotine is a company founded by Caltech scientists and former smokers looking for a better and cleaner nicotine alternative. Finally, tobacco alternatives that don't suck.
Researched and developed for 3 years to be made for people, not patients. Lucy has created a nicotine gum with 4 milligrams of nicotine that comes in 3 flavors: wintergreen, cinnamon, and pomegranate. Lucy also has a lozenge with 4 milligrams of nicotine in cherry ice flavor. Each and every flavor actually tastes great, and it's convenient and discreet. Products can be enjoyed anywhere, on flights, at work, on the go, or even in the gym.
I am so happy that Lucy is sponsoring us. Ever since they came on board, I have gotten no less than 5 of my friends transitioned over to Lucy and put their cigarettes down. They like the gum. I'm used to seeing the packages all around. This stuff is great, and it's really helping people make much healthier choices. So get on board and join the Lucy movement.
Hey, it's 2021. Get rid of your cigarettes, unplug your vape, throw out your dip, and get some Lucy nicotine gum or lozenges. This is the real deal. A subscription to Lucy comes directly to your door each month. It's so simple that you don't even have to leave your house because Lucy has delivery down.
Reality NSFW listeners, go to lucy.co and use promo code SURVIVOR to get 20% off all products, including gum or lozenges. That's lucy.co and use promo code SURVIVOR at checkout. Also, I have to give this disclaimer. Warning, this product contains nicotine derived from tobacco. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. That's lucy.co, and be sure to use that promo code SURVIVOR.
This episode of Reality NSFW is sponsored by Blue Chew. Say it with us, Blue Chew. Blue Chew is making waves and bringing more confidence to the bedroom by offering chewable tablets that can help men get stronger and longer lasting erections. That's right, we're giving away super hard dicks.
Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew's tablets help men achieve harder, stronger erections to combat all forms of ED.
Blue Chew is an online prescription service, so no visits to the doctor offices, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. And it ships right to your door in a discreet package. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. And the best part, it's all done online.
Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredient and strength for your prescription. Don't like swallowing pills? No problem here. Blue Chew's sildenafil and tadalafil tablets are chewable. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA, and they prepare and ship direct, so it's cheaper than a pharmacy.
Hey, if you're looking to give that immunity idol to someone, or you don't want to be voted out of a crater, don't worry, Blue Chew's got you covered. So if you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information.
And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use promo code SURVIVOR at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's Blue Chew, BlueChew.com, promo code SURVIVOR to receive your first month free. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
We're all trying to eat better, but healthy breakfast doesn't have to be boring. Magic Spoon has the amazing flavors you love, but without all the bad stuff. And it's amazing as a midnight snack right before bed.
0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving. That's only 140 calories per serving.
It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low-carb. And build your own box. Available flavors to build your very own custom bundle are cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, blueberry, cinnamon, cookies and cream, and my favorite, maple waffle. Now, Magic Spoon recently brought back their 2 super popular flavors, cookies and cream and maple waffle. Thank goodness. But they're back permanently. And when these flavors were first introduced for a limited time, they sold out extremely quickly. Now, I'm here to let you know you can get them again or try them for the first time. Why? Because they're delicious and indulgent.
Johnny, Magic Spoon has so many great flavors that I really enjoy, and even my kids enjoy them. We have the cocoa, fruity frosted, peanut butter. All these are really great combinations. They enjoy waking up in the morning and getting some Magic Spoon right off to start their day great before they head off to school. I think everybody listening should give Magic Spoon a try, or if you've tried them already, it's time to reorder. Let's get you some more Magic Spoon and get your day started right.
Hey, when I finish a podcast late at night, the first thing I'm thinking is not sleep. It's let me grab a delicious bowl of Magic Spoon before I go to bed.
So go to magicspoon.com/survivor to grab a custom bundle of cereal and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code survivor at checkout to save $5 off your order. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/survivor and use the code SURVIVOR to save $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this podcast.
All right, and we are back. If you guys can, please give us a like on YouTube. We really appreciate it. It goes a long way for us. And if you can, subscribe to the channel. It keeps us here a little bit longer to bring you more content each and every week of this Big Brother Canada season. So hit that like button, please. All right, Brent. So let's get into it. So we see really Gino think about all the ideas, and I know we've gone over it multiple times. He ends up deciding that it's in his best interest to possibly target Kyle, because he understands if he gets out Kyle, he won't be a threat to them, and hopefully other targets will emerge, and he won't be the one going on the block constantly alongside Kyle. So besides all that, besides what we've gone over already tirelessly, what, in your mind, do you think Gino could have done differently to make this week any easier? Like, is there another move that he could have possibly done that really would have opened up his game? Or do you think that this is literally the best hand that he had?
I think that given what he knows, some of what I want him to do would require him to have extrasensory information that he currently doesn't have. He thinks that Tanisha, Herman, and Moose are working together, and that's why he didn't make the move this week about putting up Herman, because he feels like Herman is shady, at least. Not totally trustworthy. I feel like number one, he could have just done that. But even if he just started from the beginning and realized, okay, these 9 people all betrayed you, put 2 of them up on the block. But he should have just put up Herman, in my opinion. I feel like, because Herman to me is one of the best players in the house. Now, there are a few people that are after Herman next week. But nevertheless, I still feel like he's one of the best players in the house. Herman is also aware of the fact that people are after him a little bit and has done some work over the past 48 hours to shore up some relationships with some people in the house. So that to me, and he just kind of caught that in the wind. Like, he's noticed that the vibe was a little different around him. So he's just, I don't know, the little spidey sense started tingling, and he just, decided to realize he might be in danger, which of course he is, and shore up some relationships with some people in the house. If Gino had just kept Kyle in the house, run a very smooth HOH, nominated, Herman and Tanisha, or Herman and Betty, or somebody, I think the house would have voted off Herman, as long as he didn't win the veto. Maybe put up Herman with Marty. I don't know. And then work from there. But, that again leaves Kyle in the house, and Kyle was so radioactive that I do feel like that removing him as an impediment to his game is probably the best move at this point. I don't know if I would call it, I just said the best move. I don't know that I would call it the best move. Like, if he could have got out Herman, I feel like that would have been the best thing he could do. But I think he was just scared he wasn't going to be able to do that. He was just scared, if I put up Herman, even as a backdoor, I'm not going to be able to get him out of the house, and I'm going to end up with egg all over my face, just like Kyle did. And then I'm going to be in the same position that I was, basically, because he can't play in HOH. So it's going to be Jace and Kyle playing for HOH against the other 8 people in the house. And he just didn't want to take that chance again because they barely got away with this one. He won it in a tiebreak, for God's sake.
Yeah, absolutely. And that makes all the sense in the world. So, okay, so we see what happened there. Going forward, we know that Kyle's definitely gone this week. Like, Kyle gets nominated, it's over. Like, there's really nothing you can do. And you can just see it on his face, like, damn. Well, okay. He even asks the question, was it really that bad of a week last week? Like, was it really that bad of a move that he made last week? And this is where I shake my head, because this is really the guy that we thought we would have better expectations for. And this is the guy that we got. Like, this is the Kyle that we thought had a possibility of being, but we were hopeful for something more. And honestly, I think it's just a lack of game knowledge. I think it's a lack of being aware of the surroundings around him, being a lack of really understanding how this game works, because he still, even in that moment, didn't understand how bad of a week he had last week. Like, he understood it was a bad week, but he didn't fully grasp that it was so bad that everyone wants him out, and that Gino literally has to take action now to get him out so that Gino doesn't get any of the backlash as well. That's where I think this is the Kyle that we get, because, it's someone that doesn't fully understand the game. Oh, Brent, you're muted. Hey, you're muted.
Sorry, I had muted myself because I was gonna blow my nose and then I forgot to turn it back on.
No.
Yeah, look, Kyle, man, it was as bad as Gino said it was. It was probably worse. I do feel like, boy, dude, let's just talk tea for a second. I feel like Kyle is in for a really rude awakening.
Yeah.
Because he went into the house being fucking worshipped by social media. Okay. People love him. He was all over everything. And people were so excited when he went in. Of course, he didn't see that, but still. And then he's going to go back and see that people were excited. And now they're not so excited. In fact, they kind of hate Kyle. They think he's terrible. I worry a little bit for his mental health. I even saw that like Steph and Jay are going to have a viewing party, and it said something about like, don't expect Kyle to join them or something. And Jay retweeted that. So they're not happy with Kyle right now either. So I don't know who is happy with Kyle. I hope he's got a strong support system around him, because I think at the end of the day, I feel like he's a good guy who just got really caught up in the game and didn't understand the game very much.
Yeah.
And just made a lot of mistakes. And that's what happens.
He did. He honestly had a big rookie mistake where you cannot get your hands so dirty that there's no coming back from it. It's one thing that this is why we always hear every single year, there'll be an HOH that says, man, I just can't get my hands this dirty. Like, I can't have this much blood on my hands. Like, this is why. This is a prime example.
I should tweet this, because the thing is, when Taryn does exit interviews, he generally just asks these very generic questions and lets the house guests take the question where they want it to go. When Taryn asks Kyle where it all went wrong, that Kyle's gonna say Moose. It's all about Moose. If Moose hadn't won the veto, then I would have been great. It would have been an amazing HOH. I want Taryn to push back on that so bad, because that's so not true. I just want Taryn to let him know, like, girl, that's not the problem. Like, you nominating Moose was the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Like, I am so wanting to see when Kyle realizes that Academy Award winning performance that he's talking about was actually to save his ass. It was to save Kyle's ass. Yeah. Moose was calming down Steph in front of Kyle to save Kyle's ass. Gosh, it was just so frustrating that Moose was doing that for Kyle, and then Kyle used that against him and nominated him. Yeah.
I think he was just thinking too hard about it. I really do, because you look at it, and Kyle was working with Moose. Moose wanted to work with Kyle. We heard Moose in the diary room talk about how he remembers Kyle from school. You know, they don't know each other super well, but they are acquaintances. And he would love to work further in this game with him. And then not 10 minutes later in the episode, Kyle's talking about how this is an award-winning performance. Like, it's just, I feel like he just got too caught up in the game, saw this as major red flags, and just instantly thought, I have to target this guy, and was so... maybe cocky is not the right word, but cocky in the sense that
it was tunnel vision.
Thought, he was tunnel vision, and he thought everyone else felt the same way that he would feel, or would feel the same way that he felt, because he felt like he was good with everybody, and that since he was HOH, people were going to fall in line to what he wanted that week, regardless of what's good for them. And that's where it was a rookie mistake, because he didn't understand that people will do what's best for them. And if you're an alliance, they'll try to work with you. But if you put any target on your own alliance, or you try to do something that's too big for your own game, that's making you look bad to your alliance or to others in the house, you're going to become target number one.
Yeah.
All right. So Kyle's up on the block, most likely going home tomorrow. Let's get into some of the questions real quick before we get off the air here. Let's see here. Let's go up to, sorry, I got to scroll up quite a bit to see this. So Mary asks, what is Moose's path forward? He is the biggest X factor. Who should be nominated if he wins?
That's really hard to say. I mean, he's gonna have to go with his gut on this one. I don't know anybody that is specifically coming for Moose. I mean, maybe you go after someone like Gino. But Gino didn't go after Moose, and I feel like they have an okay relationship. Like, Moose should not win HOH, although hilariously, I do feel like there are some people that might put Moose on the block. I don't know, maybe Helena, she's not feeling Moose right now. I don't know. Like, you would think I would have a better answer, but the problem is that the house is so fluid right now. I don't really want Moose to win HOH, although like I said, I do recognize that he might be put up by some people in the house. You think Moses thinks that he's putting Jess back up on the block? I mean, maybe. Yeah. I mean, that would certainly be a safe move. You know, I would say if Moose won HOH, it should probably be two safe moves. Put Jess up on the block as a renomination and put Betty on the block. That's what he should do.
I agree.
You know, just move the game forward a little bit. Like people always talk about, I remember Kyle was talking about this, like, you know, Betty, really? Like, you know, you're going to waste your HOH on that? Dude, you have to get rid of these people sometime.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're going to continue to be there. Like,
they're going to float their way all the way to the end. We saw that last season. Last time on Big Brother Canada 10, look who slid all the way to the final three. Like, come on. All right. So next, SL Wally says, who's in the best position in the house right now? So I think we kind of went over it. I think Summer. I really do.
Summer and Josh, I feel like they're probably in the best positions in the house. Even though Josh got busted in a little bit of a lie, I still think that people really like him a lot. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like many people would nominate him at all. They saved him for a reason.
That's true. I agree with you. I think Josh is very safe too. And I do need to see more from him, though, going forward. All right. So we got Tracy who asks, can you speculate on Kevin's position in the house? I fear he's still disposable to so many.
Yes. But he's in the Steve Moses position, which I think he modeled his game after, and I'm okay with it. He, like I said, on a totem pole of 1 to 12, if you put up the most likely person to be nominated and the least likely person to be nominated, I think Herman's number 1, and I think that Summer is number 12. And I feel like Kevin is probably like 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there. And that's where he wants to be. Mm-hmm. He doesn't want to be at the top, but he also doesn't really want to be at the bottom where people might realize he's playing a good game. I don't think he wants people to realize he's playing a good game right now. Nobody's really coming for Kevin. Nobody has any beef with Kevin. Like I said, even Betty doesn't have any beef with Kevin. Everybody enjoys him a lot. So I don't feel like Kevin should not win HOH, number 1. I don't feel like.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's doing a really good job. I just feel like his position in the house is exactly where Steve Moses is. Like, you want to be at the bottom of a bigger group of people. And the thing is, the house is so fluid. He's not at the bottom of a group of people. He's just more at the bottom of like the top tier of the house. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now, the one thing I did see earlier in the week, I think it was Friday, I saw on the live feeds where he dressed up in like a suit and was going to go serve Gino for Marty to say like, hey, this is the divorce papers or whatever. And that didn't look like it went off so well when he went into the room. So I'm just glad to hear that, he's not putting himself in as big of a position to the rest of the house. Like maybe everyone thought it was a joke, but for a second there, I was like, oh man, dude, like this not a smart game move. But like I said, I didn't get to see the rest of the week.
No, that's been his shtick though. So Gino had one-on-ones with a lot of people, and when Kevin had his one-on-one with Gino, he went in as Kevin's lawyer and talked to Gino. And so his lawyer went in to talk.
Yeah.
He was like in a suit and tie, and he went in to talk to him about why he shouldn't nominate Kevin and why he's representing Kevin and blah, blah, blah. Now, eventually Kevin dropped the act and sort of spoke some truth to Gino. And I guess that was cool, but I really was enjoying the lawyer shtick for a while. So I feel like this is part of Kevin's charm. Some of it's going to land with some people. Other things are not going to land as well with some people. So, that's okay. Yeah. I like it.
Very true. Very true. All right. Doug says, who would have thought BB Can 9 Kyle lasted longer than BB Can 10 Kyle? So true. Very true.
But they're both being evicted week 4, right? So
that's true.
Yeah, BB Can 9 Kyle was evicted in week 4, right? And then BB Can Kyle 10 is going to be evicted in week 4. So yeah, or eviction number 4. So whatever. Yeah.
It's close enough where they seem like very similar at this point. Now I feel like they're almost like parallel of each other. Like they're the exact same thing. Like it's almost like we got the same Kyle, just a repeat of what happened before. Now, granted, BB Can 9 Kyle wasn't as controversial, but BB Can 9 Kyle was also pretty boring in my opinion. So
he was boring, but he was with Rohan, and he was a do or dyer. Like he was not somebody who was going to jump ship. He would have gone to the end with Rohan, and they would have it would have been the two of them against the world, and if they get nominated, they get nominated. Oh well, like that's what had happened to him in week 4. He got nominated. I think Rohan won the veto, and then he was evicted. So I can't remember if Rohan won the veto, but I know he got evicted during week 4. Just crazy. Yeah, exactly, Moses. Crazy coincidence that they're both getting voted off in week 4, but
True.
I think both of them deserve it.
Completely true. All right. I don't see any more questions on here unless I'm missing something. So let's go and wrap this up. So going forward, who do you want to see win HOH this week? Who do you think? I know we talked a little bit. Who do you think is in the most trouble, and who do you want to win this next week?
I want Herman to win HOH because I feel like Herman is in some danger, but I don't know who Herman would nominate. I don't know if he would nominate Gino. Anybody know in the chat? Who do you think, if Herman wins power, who does he nominate? I feel like Herman has to have an HOH sooner or later. So I'm interested.
Well,
to
he
see
had the first one.
Says. Did he have the first one? Oh yeah, that's right. You're right. Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot about that one. That was so fast though. It was literally like a day. Yeah. Like we got to see a day of that. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
So okay, so I'm gonna say, screw it. Give me Jess. Give me Jess HOH.
Jess needs a reprieve. Yeah, they need a reprieve. Yeah, they're sick of being nominated. Yeah, exactly.
They need a little control in this house, and maybe something to get them out of this slump that they're in. So so okay, that's gonna be where I lay my hat. All right, so before we get out of here, Brent, anything else going on in your life, and anything you want to share with everyone? Or are you good?
No, I'm good. My mom has been texting me. My mom was texting me during this, and she said, Brent, I know you have a podcast right now, but we've been getting local calls about our Apple iCloud, and we've gotten like 5 of them in a row, and we're freaking out. Any suggestions? I'm like, Mom, I'll deal with it after the podcast. And then as we've been talking, I sort of looked online, and apparently it's like a phishing scam. So I'm just gonna tell her, block the number, just ignore it. It's just because my parents don't even have an Apple iCloud, for God's sake. I set them up. They don't. My mom has an Android, and my dad. I literally gave my dad the most bare bones iPhone that I could so that he couldn't get in trouble and accidentally give away his password or something. I literally, he has 4 apps on his phone, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've been messaging with my fiance. She's like, "Hey, my mom said she'll watch the baby so we can go see the Batman tonight." So I'm stoked. It's going to be a great night for me. So just trying to find a babysitter in the pandemic is God knows impossible. So yeah, that's it. Gonna go see the Batman tonight. We got Survivor tonight. Real quick before we get off here, who you loving in Survivor? I love this season. I think it's been fantastic.
I love it too, but I don't want to say anything because I don't want to accidentally say that the person who went home tonight because I want to still watch it.
I haven't watched it, so that's why I was bringing it up.
My girl Tori is still doing good. They won immunity last week, so I'm excited about that. And she still hasn't found the Beware idol, and we know she's gonna. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Can I say one thing though? And this is not a spoiler. I have no idea what's going on. When Tori, everyone's bringing this on Rahap about the Tori and the Beware advantage. The one thing I noticed is when they show that clip, you see Tori's face with something, but it's definitely not her voice. It's definitely not her voice reading that. I know Tori's voice from watching her on Sequester. I don't think she's the one who finds it. I think they dubbed over someone else's voice with her face. So I could be wrong, but that's my theory.
Okay.
So
sounds good.
Just a guess. All right, guys. So we're going to get out of here. If you want to hit us up on Twitter, we are at One Lucky Game for Brent, and for myself, I am at Goodsby Bobby. I'm very excited to go and watch Survivor and watch the Batman. So we will see you guys next week following the episode right here on Reality NSFW. We'll see you next Wednesday. Bye, guys.
And for more Reality NSFW content, visit adfreensfw.com.